I did see quite a few Range Rover actually in the junkyard, and just I didn't feel like making a video for the bigger ones. Perhaps if I'll find a classic one from maybe the 90s, I will make a video for it. But this one, is it perhaps the cheapest of the lineup? Freelander, it's a V6, and again a Land Rover. I feel like this one just had a nice interior, and let's just have a look, perhaps especially at the interior. The exterior, I would say, it looks sort of a Jeep, depends on the years, but it's mostly the interior that it looks appealing for me. It does have the tan interior, and I'm pretty much a sucker for a combination tan and a black dashboard, and you can tell also it's interesting to see the tan sailing the roof line, even though it's kind of dropped back rear seats, but also the doors are black, so it's kind of a black and tan interior, a nice combination, and it kind of remembers me of some Porsche in the 80s rather than the 90s, these colors. Perhaps the Porsche would have tan at the bottom of the dashboard as well. Anyhow, so it does look like a nice interior. The seats are pretty up seating, so it's almost like a minivan high, not quite like a minivan high. Very interesting shape of the seat. Let's just perhaps hop in. I do have the sun right from the front of the car, so I'll try to film for you in such way so you don't get too much sun blinded. There is this sort of a it looks like it's a storage area right at your knees here. Hopefully this closes properly when the car is in good condition. It does have the fuse panel right there, and look, this is a nice perhaps UK touch, not European touch, because Germans have their way, Italian, French people have their way. But look at the description of the fuses here. They do put like that small pictogram for each fuse. So hopefully you get you are good with pictograms at that point. It doesn't have any kind of text, but it's nice to see this touch. It's just something different. The dash, it's more or less, oh, that's interesting. The ash thing, look, it springs up and down. Very interesting. Buttons are a bit plasticky, I would say, for my like, but this area here is not very impressive, but it's fine, it's functional. But I kind of like this dash design here. It's a bit weird with the storage place. It's just like some Hondas from the 90s or so, but look at the instrument panel. This is remarkable. I think it's just different. I haven't seen this thing in other cars. Not sure how much the camera is really capturing the design, the letters. Also, it does look like it's not exactly white. The letters are kind of have kind of yellow tint to them, but it's just I wish the camera will really capture exactly how it looks in real life. It has sort of almost a fluo tint to it, like fluorescent in the dark, but it's just kind of a retro looking thing. I'm watching my screen of the camera at the same time, and I do realize the camera doesn't capture. There is something, a style to it that you obviously you don't see in other cars, but also unfortunately really the camera doesn't really capture it. So it's worth seeing one in real life for once. It has something special to it, and also it's pretty tiny here, so it's not that big in our face. It does remember me of some perhaps X3 BMW or so. It's pretty tiny. Anyhow, so dash, it's plastic, strong, like stiff plastic, is nothing soft in there, but that's not a problem. I mean, as long as the plastic looks good, you don't really need, in my opinion, just to complain about it. Oh, it's not soft, it's not that. That's more of, I would say, perhaps, if you don't mind, unless you have an expensive model, it's more of a chick thing. It's more of a lady thing. It has to be soft there, soft there. Other than that, I think it's just fine. So the cabin itself, I would say that at least the front of the cabin, I'm going to move back seats as well in a moment. The front of the cabin has a retro-ish look to it. I didn't look for the year of the car, but I'll try to figure out. So it does have a retro-ish look to it. It's a little bit big here, the area for the instrument panel. Not my like here. It looks like some Nissans at some point. But other than that, I say that it has a kind of a friendly and kind of attaching look to it, despite perhaps the plastic being too cheap for this kind of price tag. The design, it's actually nice. Overall, it's nice, the design of the dash. And remember this is what you will see all the time you are going to drive a car. So this is perhaps your most important view when you are driving your car. That's why I'm talking about these things so much. Now the doors have something, may I dare say, English to them. They are really looking very thin, but also extremely flat, except for this handle here. And this is not sure if you, perhaps you can put your arm here, but I'm not going to call it an armrest because it should have been more to the rear of it, to your elbow basically. So no, it's not exactly a good armrest. There is an armrest in the center and it's actually quite plushy, it's good, but the side one, left one, is not the best. But it's interesting how the doors are completely flat, like completely flat. There is a storage area, so perhaps this is kind of a utilitarian idea, like this being a car that was successor of utility vehicles, basically terrain vehicles. Look at the that's a nice touch here on this mountroof, on sunroof. Unfortunately, I think this is not rare with European cars, sagging roof liners. Let's just move to the back seats because there's more to see. And speaking about the seat comfort, I would say that perhaps maybe because it's worn, but this area here is kind of stiff to me. However, that would be my only complaint. Let's just say that despite being leather, it's on the, I would say, on the stiff side, but the shape of it, it's quite fine for me. And I'm sitting nicely here, quite upright, and it's a minivan basically feeling of a seat and body position. So let's just hope perhaps, let's move on the other seat. This is going to be rear passenger seat, right one. And you may have even a better idea of the front of the cabin from this angle. Look how nice it looks. And I forgot perhaps to mention the steering wheel, which it does feel nice. It does feel nice and does also look nice. But it's the overall feeling of the cabin. Somehow I would say it kind of remembers me the Honda Civic from the 90s. It has something to it. I think it has something classy, but also I don't know, attractive to it in a different way than modern cars. Very, very different way and pleasant way at the same time. Again, look at the roof liner here. We have like a balloon, air balloon or something going on. You also have these nice pockets, although I'm not sure I would put something heavy in here. These lights also, there was like, this looks not mirror, but yeah, no, it's just obvious. It's just standard. You have a bunch of indicators here. It says don't put bottle in there, only for books perhaps. Yeah, what's the other picture? I cannot see it. Scissors. Whatever. This one. I don't know if I can tell. Maybe it looks like a weight or something. The camera won't focus this close, but yeah, it's funny to see those indications. And the rear seats are actually quite comfortable. I would say maybe the legroom is not giant because it has, I believe, perhaps the 4x4 system going through the center of the cabin, so it's a bump in here. But I would say that the rear seats are, it's the kind of rear seating that I would call nice, and I'm an adult 6 feet tall, 183 centimeters tall, so it's the kind of rear seating that I would recommend in a car. And I think this is great for kids as well, not just adults. It's a pleasant place, it's a bright place, you have a nice view on the windows are big. The doors, door panels, again, very flat, but it's a nice place to be. It looks pleasant, you have a good view, it's comfortable, and the dash view also, it's very attractive. So I would say this is an attractive car. Actually, I would rate it clearly above average of the cars that I discuss in this playlist of Junkyard classics. Okay, so I think from what I do remember, but I don't want to take too much risk, that is not going to be the most reliable car out there. If you have been an owner, let us know with your own experience. But that's not really the point with these videos. Really, the point is just the design inside out. That's what I'm looking for in these videos. And by the way, look at this. So we can tell that this, at least the last owner, has not been very strong with maintenance part. If he doesn't replace an old tire, I can perhaps see the date. No. But when you drive with such old tires, obviously you perhaps also skip on maintenance items. That trick you may want to look for when looking for a car. Alright, thanks for watching.